Good evening, everyone. This stream is now in session. Obi-Wan362, Gamer Law presiding, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Hope we're all ready for story time. Story time with Obi. Pip pip cheerio, pish posh and all that. Various misgivings. Let's do this.
I can't care for passengers that night, I swear it.
Well, I, for one, was told I had to pay 5p for the bus.
He followed us on the fare, he did. And I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much.
I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands.
Oh yes. He stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, yes.
You think so? This is a murder trial. I think so ain't cutting it.
Counsel, make sense of this for me, please.
I didn't... Gosh dang it, I was going to listen to someone with a German accent this week. And I didn't do it. The Phantom fifth passenger. Nope, I can't. The Phantom fifth passenger, conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend, never existed. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little cousinage. I don't know what that word is. That's my best guess.
I'm so cold.
Beppo, explain yourself.
I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster.
The guild's fare is 4p across the board. You know that. Might understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare.
It's so cold. Alas, the day is always half empty.
You have been dishonest, coachman.
I'm so sorry.
You're a disgrace, Beppo. A disgrace. Your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild.
If I may, sir. I had to pay 10p on the bus just last week.
Oh. Whoa!
4 passengers at 5p each is, yes, 20p. Done the arithmetic 10 times already. I just can't make the result come out differently.
Yep, because that's how math works, Susato. No, that figures. It's how math works.
Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please.
We've all... Wait, what is it? W's or V's? Vive. Yeah. We've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. Absolutely! Oh, smart. Don't die, Bubbles. tuck a cord rope so you don't die.
I had cared for passengers that night, I swear it. But,
Hold it!
Oh, did you? So, there were only 4 passengers on your carriage, but you didn't charge them the standard 4 pence fare. Is that right?
it's impossible to make the last word of the day pay. It was so cold. It was all I could do to stop myself from passing out.
I'm getting chilblains just listening to you.
It was terrible. So I would give myself a pat on the back for even keeping the bus running. Doesn't a dedicated coachman deserve an extra penny per passenger?
Sir, I'm gonna need you to get it together. Digging a deeper hole for yourself here. If there had been a 5th passenger on the omnibus that night, then we would have had another suspect. Van Zykes.
Well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus.
Hold it!
Does that mean everyone on board that night paid 5 pence instead of 4? Well, I paid 5 pence too, sir. Did you? You look awful suspicious.
I just told you that I did. Flat fare, 5 pence across the board.
It's not something to be proud of. The so-called discrepancy my learned friend identified was nothing of the sort. Much like the phantom killer you so desperately needed, it's gone. Dead and buried. I'd have been happy if it had ever existed in the first place.
He fed us on the fare, he did. Then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much.
Hold it!
This blood-curdling sight. You mean the murder, I presume?
Yes, sir. A loathsome sight. No one should have to witness the horror in the eyes of a man the moment his life is taken.
Oh, well, no, not exactly, sir. I'm sorry, not exactly, sir? I mean, you didn't actually see the exact moment the gent was stabbed. I'm sorry! You didn't, what?
Good gracious! Really?
We have another witness who did, however. The banker has already testified to it. Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which the victim was killed. That may turn out to be very significant.
I heard the banker gent next to me take a sharp intake of breath, see? That's when I looked through the glass. That's when I saw the horrible blade poking out from his belly, all covered in blood.
Just rip it off like a band-aid. Cheese balls.
Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming, even when I'm eating.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands.
Everything? Everything?
Hold it!
So you saw the defendant, Mr. McGilded, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him? That's what I said, isn't it? It's bothering me before this was. What? Why are you saying it like that? For just a brief moment, he hesitated before answering the question. Anyway, there was only 2 of them inside the carriage, wasn't there? That's the question, sir. There has been much talk of a 5th passenger, but as yet, 0 evidence. What are we wasting all this time for, eh? It's black and white. The man's guilty. Something about Mr. Fairplay's testimony just jars with me. I should go work out what it was.
Oh, yes. Yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so. Yes.
Have we actually looked at this yet? This portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets of London's gentry. Oh dear, do you really think we ought to look inside? Yes. Well, sounds as though we know any of London's gentry personally, is it? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps? Actually, I wonder. I assure you we will not find Mr. Sholm's name inside. There's like a 90% chance we will. Well, let's see what we find. Do you have the name of an owner? Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it? Well, I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen at all, are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off. Ah, goodness! What happened? This, do you see the name here? Bruce Fairplay. Oh, Brucey! Should that mean something to me? Just sounds strangely familiar, actually. Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment, you moron. Oh yeah, of course, the banker. Why is his name in here? Ah, he borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible that this is just a coincidence, of course. This could be very useful information. Details of the debtor's ledger have been updated. Very intriguing. Oh, I made a mistake. That's fine. Okay, there we go.
Oh, yes. Yes, he stabbed. Yes, you did. I think so. Yes.
Hold it!
Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, yes. Yes, that's right. But I didn't, so I lied. It's fine.
You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice-pick grip. Nothing? You got nothing, Beppo?
I suppose. You know, just put the cart before the horse, maybe.
Uh-huh.
What's this? Quite sure about most of it.
You're just the worst, Bubbles.
I was driving the horses when I heard a scream from the seats on the roof deck. Oh, I expect that was me, sir. Then, when I turned around, yes, saw through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor. The knife was sticking up out of his midriff. That's right. Yes, and the fellow holding the handle was the famous man. Yes.
So in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all. That's right, Beppo.
I really thought I did, but when I go over to get in my head, no, I suppose I didn't actually see this moment stabbing it, did I?
Aha! Okay, so it is pretty apparent when they lose their minds. Got it. Sir? Sir? That doesn't look healthy. Also, you should have better poker face. Poker face. Poker face. Pursuit.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fair Play? Or should I say, Mr. Unfair Play?
Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. You didn't really see the exact moment that fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Eh?
Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. Might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? Well, it is a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on top of the omnibus, that is.
Peeping! I'm a respectable city baker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it as clear as a Ballarat day.
I don't know what that means. Sir, what are you saying? Sir?
It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord. I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what exactly you saw. Oh, I can do that all right. I'll tell you just how grim it was. Do you think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands for that butcher stabbed the man?
Blood-soaked hands, you say?
Bubbles knows. Bubbles remembers.
Or she's guessing, either way.
Hold it!
Blood-soaked?
Ahem. Well, perhaps soaked is laying it on a little thick, but... But anyway, there were definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it.
Were they? You saw that from the roof? Through the skylight?
Well, the skylight's reasonably large, so I had a pretty good view. And there was a lamp on inside the carriage as well. So I'm quite sure of what I saw.
It's Banker's latest statement. I feel sure there's something not quite right about it. Feel something doesn't add up, Mr. Naruhodo. That's when you should have a good look through the court record. Bubbles, where are you so you could be voicing Susato, so I don't have to do it? Not long ago, this trial very nearly came to an end. Somehow, we've managed to keep our chances alive here. Keep... I think it's probably good. Yeah. Can't waste this cross-examination. I have to use it to bring some new facts to light. You're not careful when you press these witnesses. The danger is that the jury will end up believing something unhelpful as they did before. Maybe. We can't let the fear of that happening stop us from uncovering important new information. Yes, you're so right. I know I am, Susato. You pay careful attention here. Don't want to miss even a flicker of a reaction among these witnesses. Remember, if you happen to spot one of the witnesses reacting in a strange way, don't hesitate to pursue them as to the reason. I already did that. That's fine. Do it again. Except we won't.
Objection!
Blood-soaked hands? Well, I admit that soaked might be laying on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar. What? Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilded, on the night in question. Oh, yes, right. And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain there. But, as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove. No, it's the fact he said both hands are covered in blood. Why are you... Don't chew on that! What are you, a squirrel? Stop that! No, no, Bubbles, you're missing the new way he's chewing on it. Bubbles was like, no, he's a puppy! And then she turned around and saw him gnawing on the... Okay, guys, make sure you mash that like button like he's gnawing on that thing. Bubbles just glared at me, which is fair. Which is fair play! In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. Ah, but no, that can't be right. So you're a liar here, then? That's right. You were quite clear about it. You said, it was both hands. It's stuck. Gosh dang it, it's stuck. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it wasn't both hands, it was only one. But the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands. Which means there is a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court. Why? I'm a city banker, for pity's sake. My word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. Standing members of society don't prevaricate? I don't know what that word means. It's a weird word. He's claiming to have no reason to lie. Is that really the case? Mr. Naruhodo! If we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, we could turn the tide in this trial completely. Something to show this man has a compelling reason to lie in his testimony. I have evidence. Pump, don't we have evidence? My lord.
Yes, counsel.
The defense is ready to present evidence.
By Jove! Are you sure?
Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony.
Very well. I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. Evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness's alleged deception of the court.
Take that!
This is a list of the debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilded. Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accused's extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
Oh. What? Mr. Fairplay, you currently indebted financially to the accused?
No, well, it's barely worthy of being called a debt. According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say? Well, what of it? Let's suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case?
These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist.
Cease to exist? Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? In a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant.
Order! 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 Mr. Bruce Fairplay?
Yes, my lord. Pump. I'm dying. We're only 30 minutes in and I'm destroying my throat.
Let me ask you again, and be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir.
There goes a little click of his teeth.
Did you or did you not see the precise moment at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim?
Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. All right. Let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch. A pinch? But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGilded's hands. Both of them.
Objection!
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained. So you keep saying. First, you have something to say? I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. First.
Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself as it happens. What? Seeing what? The blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think, yes, I'm almost sure that it was on both of his hands, not just one. I'm sorry, what? Flip-flopper said what? What? Listen, Ryunosuke, you gotta pull it together.
It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all of you witnesses. This time, I'd like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear?
Mr. Naruhodo, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last. Yes. I might finally have a chance to turn things around here. What the witnesses really saw. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself. No, not until I heard that scream. Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside the carriage. We all would have seen. What if one of the passengers had been two passengers in a trench coat? Then we could have had another passenger.
Well, lo and behold. In truth or fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated.
I apologize, my... I apologize, my lord, but honestly... there was no one else inside the carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it. That's really not what testimony's about, bud. Nope. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witnesses' accounts. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of this case.
Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel.
Yes, my lord.
Well, Mother, I surely and distinctly remember that. Quite clearly, in fact.
Oop, wrong one.
Hold it!
No, the evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves the defendant was wearing on the night in question in the court record.
I'm well aware of that, sir, but nevertheless,
I know what I saw, and I stand by it. The man had blood on both his hands. He's defiant, in the face of hard evidence. He's steadfastly refusing to admit that he might be mistaken about what he saw. But why? Your reasoning is dire. One and or two, the salient point remains unchanged. Minutes after the grim crime, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accused's fingers.
I suppose you might say, but I didn't
Hold it!
Don't try to downplay this. Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance, as well you know. But crying out loud, we all know that no one else could have possibly done it. I was just trying to save us all some time. So you perjured yourself in an attempt to take less time. We'd be done by now if you had just told us the truth from the start. You have a loan of 20 guineas outstanding with the defendant, do you not? Had you hoped to release yourself from that financial burden by ensuring the defendant was found guilty? It's not entirely not what I was hoping for. I just lost a little guinea or 10 when I backed the wrong horse in the Derby, that's all. It's going to win it all back. There's a fixture this weekend, that's a sure thing. Little guinea or 10. Banker, won't bat an eye if I borrow a little spending money for the weekend. That feels too real.
Well, you're gonna get charges too. It should be fine. Great. Can't wait. I think you may have revealed rather more about your character than you bargained for, sir.
This witness's scruples are not on trial here. Proceed to the next witness. Is that really how it's supposed to work? I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them.
Hold it!
You definitely saw that too? Blood on both hands? Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say. No, only one of Mr. McGillicuddy's gloves has any signs of blood on it.
That's right.
The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGillicuddy sitting beside the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir. Do you wear gloves? Do you wear gloves when you commit murder? You just eat the bodies instead? Okay. As long as you're being safe. He wasn't wearing these gloves? That's correct, sir. And I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly. It's true that the dark colored stain on the dark leather gloves wouldn't have been easy to see. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported that there was no trace of blood on Mr. McGillicuddy's gloved hands. There wasn't blood on his hands.
This is puzzling indeed.
This must be significant somehow. I'm sure of it. Oh, you mean like how it's indicative that someone else did the stabbery since they had to have had blood on their hands? Come on, Rinosuke.
I didn't actually see anything myself. No, not until I heard that scream. It's such a vile scream.
You didn't see anything?
Oh, yes, sir. That's to say, no, sir. I didn't. Very sorry about what I said before, sir. Yes, very sorry. Yes, it was very wrong of me to make up stories and say I saw him stab the man.
What are you doing?
Oh, wouldn't you agree, sir?
I know what you're insinuating, but I certainly wasn't making up stories. I was drawing logical conclusions from my desires. Still, say you saw nothing isn't right either, is it?
No, sir. I saw nothing at all. I'm so cold, man.
Mr. Beppo, you were driving your horses. At the very least, you must have enjoyed a good view of London streets. No? We went from aggressive to moron very quickly. I didn't like it. Glad we followed that line of questioning to its termination. Thank you. Please. You didn't even see that?
It was so cold that night, you see. It was all I could do to keep from passing out, sir. Yes, my it was fairly frozen solid. So sorry to say, sir.
It would seem prudent to avoid travel on the omnibus service of London's cold winter nights. Beppo!
Oh no, I'm in for it now. Oh, college G.
That was the subtext of that, obviously. Anyway, the fact remains. Can't have been anyone else inside that carriage. We all would have seen.
Hold it!
Everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus? Omnivorous. That's right. It was fiercely cold that night. The glass wasn't frosted over. Oh, yes. I remember I was shivering. It was so bitter. Why didn't you sit inside then? There's room for 4. Not Canadian, they're British.
Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place.
Boom, bubbles.
Well, I don't know about this young fella, but I couldn't enter the cabin.
Oh? And why not?
It was locked from the inside. Tried knocking, but no one opened the door.
It was locked?
That's right. And it's a public bus service, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play.
No, that's your name, sir.
Yes, I had exactly the same experience. Tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below.
Well, I can assure you I wasn't just looking down. I was glaring, long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed. Unequivocal, I would say. I'm not sure about these 2 witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? I'm not convinced they could have. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight and the floor of the upper deck. Is that right? That's right. Yes. In that case, there's a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you.
What?
By golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied that at the time of the incident, There could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh.
Very well. I'll uphold the prosecution's demand. You identify the area in this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that the potential extra passenger could have been situated?
Well, if they were sitting here, then he could have seen that way, but they couldn't have seen directly beneath them.
Take that!
Both rows of seats on the roof face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other. Which means the visible part of the cabin, which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight, is as I've drawn here. Oh. That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one on which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it. Yeah, suck it, Beppo.
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. Where are you? There you are. There you are.
I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. Not entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, must you able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude.
Can you, Mr. Naruhodo? No? I honestly don't know. Could it have been? Could have been in the other seat, which was out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck. I don't... Oh, I missed McGilded. Like, I don't know. Yeah, like I have no earthly idea. But I feel like that's not the correct answer. But I have no idea. I have literally no idea. As a proud citizen of the Japanese Empire, you will look to the sky and walk on, making sure all signs of tears are gone. Are you talking about walking to my death? Come on. This is just a case of going on, Mr. Sato. Alright then. I'll go on. The defense would like to put forward a name. You are a fool. You got a new cop! Oh my gosh! That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned.
Let us not delay, Counsel. Defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat.
This could be it. It's the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. And that night, the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was Magnus McGilded. Because he wasn't sitting next to the man, somebody else was.
Take that!
The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded.
Mick.
Mr. McGilded?
What are you talking about, Counsel? That's the name of the defendant.
I know what I said.
Objection!
It's the second one. If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hollow chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. That's the second time you've done it, sir.
Lord Van Zykes.
People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. But I see they use the terms ill-advisedly. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand.
Wow.
When the bloody scene unfolded, their victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built.
Objection!
And that's my point. That premise may be wrong. But if the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way.
What inconsistency, Counsel?
The defendant's gloves, my lord.
Huh?
Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
Objection!
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance.
Yes, their testimony remains unchanged.
Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify, Pumpin' Up. Why are you kicking my hand? What's his paw doing? What's his paw doing? Playing with that kitty. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands. Both of them.
Objection!
And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit.
Extraordinary! Order! 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 What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that. Nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces.
Yes.
Tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir. Your hat is terrible, and you should feel bad about it.
And what particular styles of hat do the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First?
I'm afraid I don't remember. Oh, so you noticed the hats, but you, being a hat maker yourself, did not notice what type of hats. Curious. Curious, sir. And you call yourself a hatter. He must be mad. It's not fair that y'all can't see when I make Bubbles make these disappointed faces. I feel like I need to have a stream deck, and we need to have, like, especially for these nights, have little, like, lawyer Obi in one corner and little JPEG of Bubbles in the other corner, so she can push the button whenever she is and make that face. That's something excessive. I have to commission art then. You gonna pay for your half of it? The art of you. The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third person in that cabin. Same thing. How can you be sure? Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would undoubtedly have offered to dispose the fact. Unless, that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled? Yes. I do propose that very thing. That's right. There was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin on the omnibus. It's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Order!
There is clearly a simple solution to this problem.
Bring the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand.
Well, what say you, counsel?
The prosecution objects, my lord. Why?
On what grounds?
As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act.
Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion?
My lord, should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify? Or not? I feel like we need to have an opportunity to speak with our client regarding whether or not he wants to testify. Your Honor, it seems ill-advised to demand he testify before I've spoken to him about testifying. need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand.
In that case, I'd like to hear the opinion of the jury.
Ah, yes, I need a little time to consider this. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say. Get the man out here, I say. It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild. Hearing what the patron, my favorite little park, has to say? Oh yes, that would be lovely. Yes, the jury as the man must be heard.
Very well, the court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once.
No bad feeling about this. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. But my guess is probably not.
Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day?
To see if you were leaving, Mom. To be sure I have, my lord.
There are now two matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin, as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal that fact from the police?
Beggar, no! It is not in my nature to hide anything at all. And just answer the questions, please. The truth of the matter is, I have been desperate about this all along. Do I tell you all, or keep my mouth shut? Tell us what, Mr. McGilded? The fine fellow representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night myself and the other man, there was another passenger.
It's true?
Yeah, of course it's true. I ain't no fool. Aye. And 'twas me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened.
You...
What? No, Magnus McGilded. That convenient excuse can't save you now. I'm truly sorry, I am. I'm truly sorry. So I am, Lord Van Zykes. I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken to the... fuck buckets. Sure we want to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you.
Which was?
Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, not in any way involved, you see. What? If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her into this here courtroom just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord.
And who is this young child of whom you speak?
That I don't know.
You don't know.
Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witnesses' statements to be disregarded by the court.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised. If the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings.
What? Oh!
Smoke! Fire! There's a fire! Look! He's trying to go away! After them! No! It's no use! Does he think they're all the smoke? What the heck is going on? Careful, Mr. Naruto. Cover your face!
Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendants in custody and clear the courtroom, specifically of the smoke.
We already panicked. We already had smoke. We already had fire in here. Like, what's the matter? We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being at least, the trial was suspended. To be continued. Pump it down, but she's sniffing. It's a hose. Save your current progress. Oh, yeah, I'll be saving my current progress. We're doing it, folks. We're really doing it. Cool. Okay. 18th February, 12:52 p.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. What on earth just happened in there? Mr. Naruto, we managed to find out what happened. Mr. Sato. What was an advanced form of smoke grenade? A type of exploding device that releases smoke. A smoke grenade? Sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. Wah! Just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. I don't think children will be using an advanced form of smoke grenade. But who would have done something like that? Police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear. A young girl? Then, could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGilded was just talking about? My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilded, actually? There's so many things I need to ask him about. He's not here. Give us someone to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions. Along with the young girl. Why am I not there? It's not ex parte. That's not an ex parte. Ex parte is when the attorney speaks to the judge without the other attorney present. This is violating my client's rights to have counsel with him at all stages of the case. Bubbles, I just told you that that's not what this is. Bubbles, why don't you listen to me when I tell you law things? No, you're not. Apparently not. Your coffee grounds? Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk. And for what possible benefit to herself? There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? 20 pence. Hmm? Oh, according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. Now it seems there was in fact 5 passengers, at least. Which means the figures don't seem to add up again. She's right. That's strange. Less children ride free? Yeah. They snuck on without paying? 2 people in a trench coat.
Trial. Oh, nope, I just gotta. Counsel for the defense. Kindly proceed into the courtroom. Trial will recommence in 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. We'll know soon enough, Miss Usato. Soon enough. Yes! You know, Mr. McGilda will come out and be like, I didn't do it. And we can be like, well, Your Honor, done. There's the young girl next to Mr. McGilded. Look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before.
Well, after that rather full recess, court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Now then, Lord Van Zykes.
My lord?
I believe you established the cause of the smoke which availed proceedings earlier.
It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, of the sort typically employed by the army.
Good gracious! The army? What in the devil's name?
It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now occupies the stand. Like, she could have just walked out. Why did she freak out enough to use a military-grade smoke grenade?
Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior?
Him, if I may, my lord.
Yes, Mr. McGilded?
I think perhaps I ought to explain here. Why it is that this wee lass here was here in the first place, and why she tried to bowl like that. It's all tied up with the events of that night, so it is.
Very well, Mr. McGilded, give your testimony. You explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case.
Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then, beggarra, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. And I turned to find out where that scream had come from. Bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. Okay.
I'm somewhat baffled, I confess. But from what I gather, on the night in question, this young girl was riding in the omnibus. Is that correct?
It is exactly as the defense counsel said. This last was the 5th passenger, my lord.
Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witnesses. Are you ready, counsel?
Sure? Yes, my lord. God bless you, Bubbles. Or rather, no. No idea where to start. Maybe I'll try the beginning. Young girl. Not the question or note it off. I did.
Hold it!
And when you first got onto the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty, and there was no one on the roof deck either.
You're the first passenger, as it were. I see.
Aye. That's why I took the backside as I did. It is most comfortable, and so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means, just how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one which the poor gentleman was stabbed to sit. Like I said, it is most comfortable, and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. Then, beggar, and a fair start, and
Hold it!
not want the gold. A loud thud, you say? A scream? Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? 'Twas like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor, having been stabbed? Well, now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. When the sound woke me, I opened my eyes. There wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage, but the fellow on the floor. You didn't see anyone. But at the same moment, you did hear a scream?
Ah, from the seats above you on the roof deck, I presume.
Not above me, no, my lord. Just from inside the cabin. I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was just stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes. There was a fellow collapsed on the floor at my feet. So I sat him up on the seat across from me. Oh, accidentally skipped forward as I did. No, we have to press him on the last statement.
Hold it!
You sat him up. The victim, you mean? As I did. On the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. You wouldn't leave a dead man just laying on the floor now, would you? Yes. Little legal advice with Obi right now. If you come across a dead body, don't move it. Leave it where it is for the police, unless there is something about where they're currently positioned that could cause the destruction of evidence in some way. Like if you found a dead body laying on train tracks with a train coming. Move the body off the train tracks. Or don't. It's a dead body. You probably shouldn't touch it. But at least then you'll have a reason. Always have a reason to move a dead body. That's life lesson number 1, guys. Tis common courtesy, so it is. I find that a little hard to believe. Our Lord Van Zykes? Now why would that be? You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Well now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business.
The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest?
Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them. Some won't even see me dead. So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Are you suggesting you were just going to leave the man there? Heavens alive, no! I was always intending to report it, so I was. Only, I don't mind to find out the whys and wherefores first. The whys and wherefores? Right you are. There are some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same? I mean, yes, but the scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing. Then I tried to find out where the scream had come from. And bless my soul, Herc was on a roll. Person of the week in every Greek opinion poll.
Hold it!
I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did, sir. So I did. As far as I could see, that is. What? Well, now it is a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside. Awkward. Also not unexpected.
Good gracious!
Under your backside? And when I lifted the seat on which it had been seated, I found there was a wee cubbyhole there for storage. So Naruto, we examined the omnibus ourselves, remember? We did examine it. Yes, of course. Must was submitted as evidence. If you go look at it again, that's when I found her. There's a child in there, all curled up in the bowl, hiding her wee self away. Scene of a murder. Let's do this. I want to know if there used to be a handle on the other side too. The stuff that was in here before is gone. 'Cause I looked in here before the smoke bomb. Bubbles is like, that's child size. And yes, Bubbles. We all know it's child size. Now I've got 0 to hero stuck in my head. Gosh dang it. 0 to hero. So storage compartment, there's nothing in here. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here. I can't put my finger on what it is. How about the fact there was stuff in here before? You say she was hiding herself? Oh, that's alright. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, my heart nearly stopped beating in my chest. You're really overacting this. Still and all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chin wag with her. Having a good little chin wag. Just gonna wag that chin. Seat opposite. That's right, just next to the gentleman there.
You sat this young girl next to a corpse, sir?
Look, no one said he was a smart man, alright? Well, as I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So, I need to find out just who this urchin was, you see. While I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream. A fella's voice this time. Presumably that scream was Mr. First. He was sitting on the roof deck seats. Right you are again, I would say, said. Looking down through the skylight, you must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with a knife in his belly.
In other words, the previous witnesses did not, in fact, see you at all, Mr. McGild. They believe to be yourself and the victim was, in fact, this girl and the late Mr. Mason.
Aye, my lord. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage, out of sight.
Certainly plausible, I suppose. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature. Readily confused, perhaps, with this young girl.
Really? After that, of course, with the screams from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses.
Thank you, I've heard enough, I believe. Events has explained it clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is the girl? Speak, child.
Oh, child. Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer. Earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. It's called a pickpocket. What?
This girl here? A petty thief?
It's only petty if to a certain amount, my lord. Order!
This is true, Miss Lestrade. Miss Lestrade, you'll answer the question.
Ma'am? Ma'am, you cannot shoot pink smoke bombs at the judge.
How dare you? What is the meaning of this? Oh! The girl! She's gone!
Open your eyes. I'm over here.
Good gracious! How?
What's the point in that little sidestep? I know what you lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. 'Tis dirty little dipper, you say. Slipped up and got caught in the job. That's close enough to Cockney, right? That's fine, it's close enough. She got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed the gent. I'm having issues because I'm like, it's like a half step away from Australian, and I'm trying not to. That's why I said half step. Go on. That's what's in your head, ain't it? No, not at all. Also, ma'am, what are you saying? This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not cast. Why? Look, knives are for cowards. Only dogs use weapons like that. All I need it for what I do is these fingers. There's too many accents. I'm not gonna survive. I can't do both. I can't make this a girl's voice and a Cockney accent. I'm not this talented. False at home. I don't know why you're judging me. You can't even do accents. Can't do voices, can't do accents. You're over here like, why aren't you doing better? Everyone's a critic. She's cute though. Bubbles, you can dress like that. You dress like that for the next con that we can go to? Why not? Oh, I'm a professional, alright. Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do. Let me guess, you don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs? Oh, this? Yeah, this was in a bag I lifted the other day. Down where they keep the four-wheel drags. It's nice, ain't it? I like the pink best.
Oh! Do not wave that thing in my direction again!
So, you admit you were riding in the omnibus on the night in question? It is alright, lass. You can tell them the truth now. Why, yeah. It's just like the Irishman said.
The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You'll tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question.
Alright, if I have to. Witness testimony. So I snuck inside the carriage before they looked up the horses, just like always. But it was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for my troubles that night. I tell you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's a pitch in there. Then after a while, I heard this loud bang. Nearly jumped out of my skin, I did, and the screaming just came out. It's because of that this swell found me. He did help me get away, mind. Doesn't look pleased. Yes, he let you go.
I fail to understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded.
Oh, 'tis simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. How? 'Cause she was under me bum. She was trapped under the seat I was sitting on. How was she supposed to get out? As I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself.
The demonstration is called for.
This is where I sat that night. And
the cubby hole in which you speak has spoken is underneath this seat, I presume. Yes, it does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature.
Oi, but of course the wee lass was stuck in there. Could I'd parked myself on the seat for the duration.
Oh!
So you see, that's why I let lass bolt. Well, if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young life was ruined, when all the time I knew she was innocent.
Even though you must have realised your action resulted in your own innocence being called into question.
Not at all, my lord, not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this less fortunate lass. My goodness. Hey. I told her she was playing with your gourds. She was like, they're ball shaped in a bag. Like, two of her favorite things. It's not my fault you didn't think about it. Ain't that right, Pump? I'm sorry I take your gourd away. You just gonna go get another one? What a perfect gentleman.
My lord! This is a fine example of a man. This fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir.
Pew. One more person. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. I'm sorry, weren't you the one that said he was guilty earlier? Don't pretend, ma'am. Innocent.
Saints alive! All 6 members of the jury, consensual in their leaning to a verdict of not guilty.
Mr. Naruhodo, this... well, it must mean...
Must mean what? What happened?
that we're victorious!
We've won?
Are you sure?
Objection!
What?
He's just so excessive.
If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy.
Sir, get your boot off the table! Bubbles, Bubbles, you don't know. You don't know what rain boots look like. I'm sure Wellington makes more than just rain boots.
This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices, where evidence and reasoning should be paramount. Emotion rules the day.
Emotion.
The witness's last statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature.
What do you mean, his true nature?
Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of the cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation.
Uh-huh. And?
The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's noted in black and white here in the police report.
Good lord!
The evidence has been tampered with.
In order to corroborate Mr. McGilden's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat. What? Faceplant.
Order! How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been effected, Counsel?
Naturally. We must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. Yep, I can attest to that. Well, my Nepalese friend. Huh? Me? When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. Pray, what did you find the condition of the under-seat compartment to be? Oh, to be sure, the young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry? Go ahead. You tell the court now, fella. How this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zykes. But...
Well, Counsel, you have something to say on this matter.
Your Honor? Technically, Mr. Van Zykes is correct. How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat in the omnibus? It wasn't empty. So I looked and there was stuff there. Hi! Cannot lie to the tribunal. That's called perjury. It's bad. I don't know if even this answer is helping my case as counsel for the defense, but as far as I remember, at least. When I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it. Yes.
Huh? Are you sure, Counsel?
Be whist. What are you saying now, you daft daw? I thought you were on my side here. Even Van Zyk's like, I'm sorry, what happened? Why are you being about Bubbles? What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position? As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible. Interesting. This is not altogether pleasing, fella. I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded. Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interests here, lad. Now then. My fellow's memory is a curious thing, and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. That there cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Empty as the devil's heart. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interest not to admit that you might have been mistaken? I was not. Why? I feel like something's not right here. Open up, what you doing? Pumpernickel. Always take your gourds. Doesn't make any sense.
I should like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think.
Our compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth run of the carriage. The guild's rules state that the omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo isn't that irresponsible. That money-lending fleecer and the pick-purser lion.
Problem. No? Can't believe I was nearly taken in. That stinking wretch always stink us. Nothing but cowards, a lot of them. What? Oh no. No. It's a trick. Of course it's a trick. Quite so. I must concur here. Well, we can stop there. That'd be swell. With calm and calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Yes, but every time a different truth, it seems. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate.
Thank you, counsel. I have eyes too. But before we proceed any further, there is the matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witness, please.
Yes, my lord. What just happened? The whole balance of the trial just shifted, almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem. What the girl saw. Stuck in the carriage and looked up. Horses like always, quiet patrol.
Hold it!
So you were already in the omnibus before it even set off on its run? Well, yeah. I mean, what's the point of sending Joey to make a few bob, eh? That's a rum idea, ain't it? Which means there's no point spending money to make money. That should make sense.
Counsel, I remind you that this girl is a petty thief. Kindly refrain from entertaining her tenants.
Well, it does clear up the little mystery of the fares and all. 4 paying passengers at 5 pence apiece, making the 20 to which the cabin man said testified. And one little scapegrace riding for free. Red conk of a driver always goes for some grub before his last run and see. So that's when I slip into the carriage and keep myself in under the seat. Nice and easy, right? But your hiding place is a storage compartment. Full of equipment for the coach, no? Yeah, there's brushes and buckets and whatnot in there, sure. I always chuck all that out and cram it in a corner somewhere. No one ever seems to bother much. And yet, according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived at the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia. I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all that stuff out so I could under the seat. That's all I can tell you.
We've reached the end of that line of inquiry. Continue.
But it was right. It was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to share from me troubles of that night. Oh, I accidentally pushed the button again. I wasn't very good there.
Hold it!
A waste of time. Why is that? Well, most nights I'm on my own in the gold permit. At least some of the time.
I beg your pardon? Did you say God permit?
Oh yeah, that's what my kind call it. You'd say the omnibus, I suppose. Point is, ain't no more run. The carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. And that's when you come out of your hiding place and get away. That's it. Only that night. This cove was sat on. You see it from the start. He didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck.
You tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration. You were under the seat the entire time while events unfolded in the closed cabin.
Yeah. Right, mister? Why, to be sure, to be sure. I was as shocked as anyone. You don't expect to lift the cushion. You've been sat on and find a child now, do you? She screamed. That was it earlier. Jeez, Bubbles. So Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then. But, oh yeah, I can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there.
Hold it!
So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all? Not a shot. Most days I push the cushion up with the head and look out the crack. Then I have a butcher. Is that who I'm gonna fiddle? Thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I mean, I can have a look. See that gal on there ain't as plush as the other one, see? So most of the time the passengers plan themselves opposite. But for some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over me head. For that reason, you were able to push the cushion. You weren't able to push the cushion out to peek out. I see. Truth is, I ain't too happy in small dark places. Feels too much like being thrown in the clink. But it's the only place to hide in them carriages, so it's Obson's choice. Let's just stick to picking people's pockets in the open then. So there's some reason that she's not letting on, judging from her demeanor. So anyways, I was a bit scared, but I had to stick it out to there. Nothing else for it. Then after a while, I heard this loud bang, nearly jumped out my skin, I did. And the scream just came out.
Hold it!
Where'd you hear this bang come from? When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor? Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump. And you let out a scream involuntarily? That's right. And then I felt the cushion on me head get light all of a sudden. Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes. Or not. It could equally have been the moment the accused stood in order to stab his victim, could it not?
Well, girl, did you see what happened at that crucial moment?
Yeah, I saw it. pushed up the cushion and had a quick butcher's while I had the chance, didn't I? Irishman was sitting up the bloke with that, what I had fallen on the floor on the seat opposite. Imagine Mr. Gillard's account, of course. That's when he stabbed him. Stabbed him right in the stomach. But then, the fella suddenly turns around and looks right at me. I sunk back down again. It was too late by then. Should never have risked looking. It's because of that, this swell found me. Did help me get away, mind.
Hold it!
And when Mr. Gilda discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place? I was scared stiff I was. He dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all. Next to the victim, Mr. Mason? Yeah. A bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. And the carriage lurched a bit, and he ended up falling onto me. Ugh, how awful. Both me hands got covered in blood, and it made me feel sick as a dog. Her hands covered in blood. Must be what the rooftop passenger saw. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGilded for a while. Is that correct? He asked me some stuff. Wanted to know my name and what I was up to and that. I heard something up above. Someone screamed.
Yes, Mr. First on the roof deck, one would presume.
Well, I didn't want no one seeing me face, so I didn't look up. Then the asses were drawn up smartish, and this here Irishman says to me, "Get back to under the seat. I'll see that you can get away later." As soon as the jury decided the defendant was innocent. One brief shining moment, yes. It's clear that they're all still very unsure. We could just find some piece of evidence among this new testimony. I'm sure we would clinch the verdict we want. Yeah, you're probably right. That was niggling feeling. Something's bothering me. I just can't quite put my finger on it. Looked up the horses, just like always. We're all waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles at night. Can't see a blind thing in the hiding place. It's pitch in there. Why'd you scream? There, he fell there. Like, I just can't. Like. Okay. Scream just came out.
Hold it!
See him, Kavanaugh. Okay.
Well, now.
Oh, there it is. There it is. He didn't react the first time. Now we had to go through that a second time. I see how it is, because that was...
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Something wrong, Mr. McGilded? Oh, I do apologize. Is there something the matter with Council? I'm just wondering if Miss Lestrade's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps. You seem to be thinking something to yourself. Oh, no, no. It was nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lass is all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad, shut up in the dark. It was terrifying, so it was. I see. As I'm sure we can all sympathize. I'm still scared of the dark now. I don't know about yourself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem that much louder as well. Yeah. I suppose it does, maybe. Miss Lestrade? Did you hear something that night? Anything? An unusual noise, perhaps? Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. But chappers, there's no need to tell the whole world of me foibles, you little scamp. But he was snoring. If he was snoring the whole time, he couldn't have stabbed the man. Because he was, in fact, asleep. What a pity. If only Miss Lestrade had heard something, might have given us a vital new clue. Yeah. Should make it that last statement of hers. It's profoundly important. My lord, I believe the statement just made by the witness is profoundly important.
Profoundly important. But all she said was that she heard nothing.
Yes, which is the profoundly important point. Achoo!
I'm almost sure of it.
I'm almost sure that I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern mind, Council. Nevertheless, Miss Gina Lestrade, you supplement your formal testimony by repeating that last statement, please.
What? Supplement? What are you on about? Don't give me all your fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. Well, it won't work on me. That's right. Insult the judge. Always a good move. Look, if I could get something that I could just post during my Zoom hearings, it's that. Just put the sign up, says that's it. Insult the judge. Always a good move. I was straining my ears to work out what was going on, but all I could hear was snoring.
Hold it!
So you're straining to hear what was happening the entire time. Is this the moment you hid yourself? No exactly, no. Sorry. Well, there's no one in the cabin to start with. Or just push the cushion up, but just see what was what. But then when I saw this swell getting on, got me head down so he didn't notice me. Mr. McGill had sat on the seat under which you were hiding, correct? Yeah. Would you Adam and Eve it, eh? What a mug. So then all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out there as soon as I had him leave. See? I don't know. I don't know age we go to first grade. Why are you asking about first grade? But would he? Not likely. Even though we stopped in there, never heard the door open. Just had to stay put and listen to him driving his pigs to market. Snoring like an old dog he was. So you're saying... Of course! Of course! It's a conspiracy! Oh, it's conspiracy bubbles. Because you know who did it? All the people on the top were part of it. Because they dropped him through the skylight. That was the thud. Thud was him falling through the skylight, woke up Mr. McGilded, picked him up, put him on the seat. I noticed that there was a latch on the skylight. I didn't think much of it, but now it explains why there was a loud enough thud to wake him up. And to scare her. Snoring like an old dog he was. Any conclusions we could draw from that, I wonder? Miss Lestrade, what you've just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts.
Odds? Are you sure, man?
Absolutely. It seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I feared. So Van Zykes realized it too.
Counsel? I must insist that you bolster your claim with evidence, or some complicit parties named at the very least.
Yes, my lord.
So you should demonstrate this alleged contradiction to the court.
According to Miss Lestrade, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGilde's snoring. Think, Rinosuke, think! Something else she should have heard. Show a person. Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate. A particular sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear on the night in question. Sound very clearly explained by the presence of the following person.
Take that!
Thrice-fired Mason?
Yes, my lord. The sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus.
Order! Explain your reasoning, counsel.
Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus. Is that correct? Yeah, of course I was. Got on while the driver was in the pub, didn't I? And the next person on board the omnibus was Mr. McGilded? That it was. Not a soul in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least, not in plain sight. So you were, to all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at that time? Did I not just say as much? I wasn't traveling with anyone else, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I saw him get on, remember? Through the crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own for sure. And, from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that one on its ordinary journey. However, during which time did you not hear the door opening or closing at all? Nah, never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, wasn't it? Waiting for the swell to leave. In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage? Bam! Which also goes along with the fact that they were saying before that the door was locked, which is how each of them ended up being stuck on the roof. The driver didn't notice because he was half asleep, just autopiloting that cart around. So, this... I assume Miguel locked it, but who knows who really locked it. Well, we're not there yet. But
Oh,
we know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she did or did not hear is at odds with the facts. Ah. Look at her knickers. Yes, this petty thief's statement was clearly flawed.
Lord Van Zykes?
Yes, he knew. He knew all too well that there was an inconsistency in Miss Lestrade's statement. It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend. What are you talking about? You have demonstrated matters impeccably. Uh-oh. This witness and her colorful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more. Wait a minute. Right. How could the victim possibly not have bought the omnibus? That makes no sense whatsoever. This girl is pickpocket. We should never forget you pickpocket. No, Granny! No! Granny, no. How would you do this to us, Granny? She didn't even say anything. I didn't want to judge the dear little Maya just because she has some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I can't abide liars.
And neither can I.
Mr. Foreman?
I didn't want to judge the girl just because she has some less than salubrious ways. But I must say, I cannot abide liars.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mr. Naruhodo, this 5 jury members say he turns guilty. Mr. Naruhodo, panic! Panic time! How many of those cups do you have, sir? Well, your consideration for others is refreshing. My Nipponese friend. To the considerable troubles you have spared me. You're rude, sir. Yes, very refreshing. What are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for, you useless Eastern Amadan? That's a Pokemon. Ah! Stop licking your knife. That's dangerous. Did you do the murder? This is carnage. It's perfect. Xbox, no. Number 2 is the only one left. Naruhodo, the way this is going. I know. I can't find some new way to convince everyone of Mr. McGilda's innocence. The judge will rule. We'll have lost. I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen. But those of us in service know we must accept hard truths.
Hold it!
It's like, stop. Everybody stop. Stop hammer time. Yes, the witness's last statement seems to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on this whole case. What are you saying? Counsel! I'm sorry, sir? Whatever do you mean?
Counsel, I will not tolerate your attempting to prorogue.
Prorogue? What? No word.
Prorogue. Pierogi.
Prorogue. A verb. Discontinue a session of a parliament or other legislative assembly without dissolving it. That's not... So that's not actually applicable to this setting then. It specifically has to do with parliament or legislative assembly, which this is not. So that's not an appropriate word.
Explain yourself at once.
When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time, as testified by the witness in the stand.
And yet the victim's body was found in the carriage.
If this petty thief's words are to be believed,
How do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus?
okay, here we go. So only one way to explain how the victim came to be inside the carriage. Like, it's somehow both these? Really? There's another entrance. The door wasn't opened even once. The only explanation is that the victim entered the closed cabin some other way.
Objection!
I wondered what new fantasy you would come up with in your blind panic. But behold, the omnibus is here for all to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door. The other has only windows. Fixed windows, which cannot possibly open. In short, there is no entrance to the cabin other than the door.
Objection!
But there could be. There's one possibility you haven't considered.
Oh, really?
Yes, one other way inside that isn't the door. Another opening, the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin.
All right, counsel. The defense will identify the location for the court. Is the omnibus on which the incident occurred? Where on earth is this entrance by which you propose the victim entered the cabin?
Ta-da! Ta-da! Take that! The answer is obvious. It can only have been the skylight.
I say, the skylight?
Not to be confused with Skyline, Your Honor.
Objection!
Your ludicrous proposal almost has me lost for words. However,
Objection!
Skyline may well be large enough for someone to pass through.
Objection!
so you claim. But do you have a shred of evidence to support your addle-brained theory?
Yeah, the thud. Both Mr. McGilden and Miss Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud, such as the noise made by someone falling to the floor.
Yes, which has already been explained. It's the sound of the victim falling from the seat, having been assaulted with the dagger.
Yes, it has. But would a man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witnesses describe? A noise loud enough to cause Miss Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry, in fact?
Good gracious!
Perhaps, in fact, that was the moment that the victim made his entrance into the cabin. No, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it.
Objection!
You're now suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin? That's simply impossible.
How can you be so sure?
Because if the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say, the passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. And yet, not one person made mention of such events in their testimony.
Well, yes, it's true, but what a humble fella. make a wee comment here. Mr. McGilded? To be sure now, the two fellows who were sat on the roof that testified before said nothing of the victim falling through the skylight. But, seems to me, my lord, that is not so much a case of them not saying, but... Aye. Just a case of them being unable to say. What? I think perhaps the two fellas do be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened.
You mean because neither of them were on the thing at that point in time?
Would you not agree, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Oh my goodness, surely not. Those two chaps on the roof?
You mean the ones who stuck the knife in the man were...
Haha! Roger a little bit.
Hold it.
Just what exactly are you insinuating here? You blitherer.
You rotter! He said, you rotter! What are you insinuating?
This is a flaming outrage. I've a good mind to give you a blink of a minute.
He'll give you a shiner in a minute, he said, and so will I.
Mr. Fairplay?
You're effectively accusing me, city gentleman and a well-respected banker.
And me, a very angry hatter.
Yep. Look at that. Look at that intimidating dance. When I did that earlier, you told me to get out. So now you get to leave. Rude.
Suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in the guts, it's a disgrace. It's scandalous. I protest. I protest in the strongest possible terms.
That's right. I protest too. How about you, you rotten scoundrel?
Order.
Huh?
It's not the time, witnesses. Do not permit the wanton invasion of the stand. Turn to the anteroom at once. But that's beyond reason, my lord. It's outrageous.
It's very hurtful, you know.
My lord, if I may comment.
Go ahead, Lord
Van Zykes.
Go ahead, Lord Van Zykes.
It was the defense that incited this outburst from the witnesses. My learned friends have seen fit to abandon all protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof.
Accuse? I never intended to...
It seems, young nipple knees, that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You propose to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You have branded these gentlemen liars. You have intimated their criminal guilt. In our British courts of law, that is what is termed a baseless accusation. I know it was rash to put this idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought. Why are we wasting time for? Get them to
Testify! I thought there was something fishy about that hat from the moment I laid eyes on the fella.
We have to see this matter through now, one way or another.
If there's filth and rubbish in our midst, we must dispose of it at once. Testify! 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 What's happening, Mr. Naruhodo? Spectators in the public gallery are they're in a complete frenzy.
Mr. Fair Play. Mr. First, I can't, there's too many voices. My lord? You'll take the stand again and make another formal testimony. In reference to the indictment brought by the defense. Yes, my lord.
I didn't come here for this. There's no time to think this through. All I could do is keep pushing forward. We were the only two people up on the roof deck, dead or alive. I could swear to that. Other than the driver? If anything had happened while we were sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed?
So both of you then. In case neither of us know the first thing about the victim, no reason to kill the man.
The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. He couldn't possibly have opened it.
You're so sure the victim fell through the skylight? Where's your proof?
I must say that on listening to this testimony, it's somewhat hard to imagine.
I think we're having a disagreement on timing.
How either witness could have performed any malevolent act on this open rooftop deck, without the other noticing forthwith.
That's right, you see?
We're innocent, I tell you. Although logically, of course, argument falls down if the two of you were in collusion with one another.
What?
Huh? According to investigations by Scotland Yard, two witnesses share no common dealings. Huh. I don't trust coppers anymore than I trust the stinking rich. Something doesn't feel right here. The trial's going in our favor, really. That's why I feel so uneasy.
Counsel for the defense, over to you. Cross-examination, please.
Oh, yes, my lord. Right away.
Want you people on the roof deck? Yep, I swear.
Hold it!
So at no time did the victim, Mr. Mason, climb up to join you on the roof deck.
Absolutely not. Dick in.
No question about it, he said. None at all. Nope, sorry. No, sorry. Going downstairs, dance. Look at my butt. It's just flapping in the wind. Oh, but yes, of course. I've never seen them both. Oh, I saw the victim inside the enclosed cabin talking with this man here.
Is this true, Mr. McGilded?
Dear me, my lord. At the risk of repeating myself, I boarded the omnibus alone. Got off inside almost immediately.
Outright lie. Without doubt you were engaged in acts of espionage.
Let me stop you there, fella, and ask, do you have any evidence at all? At all? It's all about evidence in the courts these days, so it is. You do well to remember that.
I saw you. My own eye.
This is going so well. Anything could happen. Where we're sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed?
Hold it!
Over now. Did you have a good dinner? You still licking your jowls from it? Well, it was on the final run in the omnibus at past 10 o'clock in the evening. It would certainly have been quite dark. Perhaps too dark to see clearly.
Is this some kind of a lark?
Maybe. You don't know me. You don't know my lark. Is this some kind of joke, he said? Is that what this is?
I don't know.
Is it, Mr. First? Perhaps one or the other of you fell asleep briefly?
Are you fair dinkum, sir?
You're serious, sir? That's what he said. It's impossible, I tell you.
I'll give you the keys of the vault if you could fall. Sipping that bitter cold. If you did manage it, your eyelids would freeze shut. You never open them again.
Seems unlikely, but alright. That's extreme. That's fine, I guess.
Was extreme, I tell you.
We had to put up with because this man locked the door. A true gent would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked. Dreadfully sorry about that, young fella. But you see, I was away with the fairies and I didn't hear you at all. That's a lie. I saw you through the glass. You were talking to someone. No. It was a good night, so it was. It's a good night, so it was. You ought to be seeing things not really in the cloud and the cold. It was hardly you're surprising. Saying things! Oh, how are you making this worse? I tell you, I didn't see nothing.
I believe we have reached an impasse here on this particular point.
You. Don't take it personally now, lad. If I'm a suspect in this case, then it is only fair that you and the other fiend are too. Open and free competition is what a capitalist society is all about. Huh. This isn't a competition I should like to be involved in, really.
Oh, goodness. Sleep is coming for me. I can feel it in my bones. Hey, Case. The first thing about the victim. Nowhere to kill him, man.
Nothing? You knew nothing about him?
Hold it!
So, you had never met Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason before? Is that your testimony?
Oh, no. Not once. Never.
Can you define alum for us? If the answer is no, why are you using the word? Never met the man before, he said. Never. And you, Mr. First, had no prior dealings with the victim either? That's right, sir. I just don't have much to you with brickmakers, to be perfectly honest, sir.
No, imagine not.
Except the fact he was wearing a hat. See, how many different ways can I put this? Nero's other what is the connection to the gentlemen who were inside the cabin? Oh, really? To either gentleman?
Excuse me.
Excuse me, Mr. McGilded? You have a statement?
Yes, Counsel. What can I be doing for you?
Oh, you know, just answering our questions. The usual. Did the witness's last statement give you pause for thought? For thought somehow.
Not the remotest connection? Is that right now, I wonder?
What are you insinuating now?
Ah, Mr. Fairplay. It has been too long, so it has.
Eh?
If I'm not very much mistaken, I believe it is fast approaching, is it not? Your repayment date?
I beg your pardon. I never promised you a rose garden.
You borrowed 20 guineas from me, sir.
At an unconscionable rate of interest. You tricked me. It's extortion.
Well now, is that a touch of begrudgery, is it? Sort of begrudgery that might motivate a fella to pass crimes off on another. And young Mr. First. Me, sir? What do you want with me, sir? You do be making hats for a living now. Living, do you not? Then, that there top hat sliding about your head. Is that one of your own creations, is it? Oh, well, still just an apprentice, you understand? Trying to find the perfect fit for whatever fine gent walks at the door. Perfect fit, is it? Well, it is a very distinctive design, so it is. Many customers like it, I tell you. They like a distinctive touch. Customers, such as thrice-fired Mason. Huh? There was a photographic print of the victim's submitted as evidence afforded, my lord.
Oh, this you mean?
Can't get up digging to the poor fellow's hat looks distinctly familiar, wouldn't you say? That's one of my hats.
Uh-huh.
Aye, that it is. So it would seem the brickmaker was a customer of yours. Sort of customer, I wager. You could have had a wee quarrel with the distinctiveness of the goods. Oh no, sir. Absolutely not, sir. Well, there's really nothing more to add. It wouldn't be right to say that you fellas here haven't the remotest connection to the victim, you see. I rest my case.
You little weasel.
He's better at this than I am. Gosh, Mr. McGill has surely been thorough in his research, hasn't he? Please don't let me... A hat hunter awarded? What? Please don't let me little interruption hold up the proceedings. So shut the entire time, I tell you. Can possibly have opened it. Nope. No sirree.
Hold it!
You quite certain about that? The skylight was shut the entire time? I'm going to lose my block with you in a minute. He's going to lose his rag with you in a minute. That's what he said.
Excuse me.
Oh, shoot. Mr. Fair Play? You Foster King 4 now. That statement appears to have given you pause for a thought. Not really. It's my bad. I meant to go back to the gentleman who's opted about. But you seem to be looking to the side, one way or another. Do you have some affliction? Not really. He's not really willing to say anything, as it seems. Your business, anyhow.
Hold it!
Good balls, we open it. Alright, let's try this again. Block with you in a minute. Just right with you in a minute. That's what he said. That's what he said, just Sir Bob. Go look for yourself. Go on. See? Shut fast now, just like it was on the night. So it is, of course. But at the size of Mr. Mason, could likely break right through it. Still at all. It's not a good argument. Also, he looks very nervous. What? What is the size of the thing, you understand? Now you, on a minute, says the thing means nothing. Oh, so let's see the bigger picture here, shall we? Stop biting our cane, shall we? That's right, the omnibus on the occasion when, oh, I broke wind. Loudly. I shot myself with it as it happens. I'm not... Okay,
This is an unexpected confession, Mr. First.
Oh, I just meant to say, oh, point is, trying to open the skylight, you see. But, just my luck, couldn't make it bulge. The stench was terrible. Everyone was looking daggers at me, sir. Went as red as a went as red as rouge, I did.
Expecting me to sentence you?
No, sir. Point is, I know how hard it is to open one of those skylights, but I'm guessing is part of the purpose of my statement. Skylight can't be open. Try it, nose. I can't be shame. Oh, milady.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade? It opens. Skylight. That is what we were talking about, right? All them skylights open dead easy. Or is it then you can load that weapon? It's a lie, I tell you. Otherwise, when I broke wind, You can't do it from inside, you mug. no. Look, a few weeks ago, I was up on the roof deck of one of them drags. And I had a great haul. I had purses coming out my ears.
Mr. Strahd, this is not the form to be eulogizing on the subject of your criminal activities.
Well, anyway, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, he got wise to me. All four of them surrounded me, so I couldn't hop off the bus and leg it. So what I did was use a skylight, open the catch and jump right through. Sorry, what? Yeah, catch on the skylights is on the top side. That's why you can't open them from the cabin. Skylight opens from the roof deck. Ba, ba, ba.
Bailiff! Climb up onto the roof of the omnibus at once and verify the witness's claims.
Ba, ba, ba. My hat! Say?
Boom. Order.
So, it appears that the street girl's statement is quite true.
I don't believe it. Skylight actually opens. And from the roof deck, no less.
Naruto?
Could be the clue we've been looking for.
Well, counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. So, the skylight opens. I just should investigate for myself. Okay. And that's actually where we're going to let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, and let it be. So wonderful. Let's go ahead and swap back to our courtroom. So, dear viewers, thank you all so much for coming out tonight. As always, it is much appreciated. We will be doing more of this for the foreseeable future, probably. I'm enjoying it. Excited to see. Again, it's like it's been so long because so many of them, like when the remake trilogy came out, it was great, but I had played I had played the original games, and so I was like, I already knew what was going on. I already knew the story and the cases. So having new ones is great, and it's so thematic for us. So yeah, so I'm enjoying this. Hope you are too. So we'll be doing this for a bit. But yeah. Expect more of this tomorrow unless something comes up. And then we'll see. Because that's how we work here. The wonders of variety. Thank you all so much for watching this. And until next time, this stream is adjourned. Good night, everybody.